This video is an excerpt from our weekly podcast. Go and watch the full podcast, check the link in the description of this video, or support us on Patreon at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. Activision has screwed its players again, and not in order to line the pockets of its CEO this time. What they did is they released a game with an always online requirement. Luckily though, hackers solved the issue within 24 hours. So let's get into the meat of the story then. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, was released in 2020 on the consoles. It came to PC on Friday the 26th of March and debuted exclusively on Blizzard's Battle.net app, so it wasn't on Steam or any other. However, the DRM system that they used requires that you always connected to the internet to play. So it's not like an intermittent check, so periodically it'll check whether you're online. No. It's not just a single check when you boot up the game. No. You need to always be connected to the game, and the moment your connection drops, your game stops. And the most important point here is that the game is single player. There's no multiplayer component of this game, and to rub salt in the wound, the servers were down on launch day for a couple of hours, meant that people who bought the game weren't able to play because there was a problem on Blizzard's end, which is absolutely
that's so fucking funny,
inexcusable.
Jesus Christ, what
so
is this
ridiculous.
Company?
It perfectly highlights the problem of doing this. This is a single player game. There's no multiplayer component. There's nothing multiplayer in it whatsoever. And this is how they screw the players, right? This is what happens. If it happens on day one, it just underlines the whole issue. And it tells you as a purchaser that you're an absolute mug. They've sold you this game. There's no reason for them to deny you to play it or to put this DRM requirement in, but they do it anyway. So bad.
And it's Crash. Like, it's already out. It's been out. This is a staggered release. It came out on PS4 and everything ages ago. Like, and now they're just doing it on PC. It's not like anyone's gonna be leaping off their chairs to pirate it, because it's already been out. And
and the thing was with apparently some of the console version, the physical console version, there isn't this requirement to be always online either. So you're getting screwed compared with the console players by buying it on PC. You know, you think of all the players who are playing these days who aren't in the country or don't have the luxury of having a decent, stable internet connection. Never mind the data caps that some people still have on their internet. They've highlighted there themselves the problem when the service goes down. The servers go down, you haven't got your game anymore. It's gone. Yeah. This is a single player game. The only reason they do it is to try and stop piracy or whatever. However, this disincentivizes legitimate people from buying the game because it just gives them a load of problems, and it also incentivizes piracy because you get a better version or a better playing experience if you're a pirate.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. How did they not see that?
All it does is punish the let's say the good consumer. You know, the ones who don't pirate, the ones who do play by the rules. You're the ones getting the shitty deal, even though, like, kind of like preaching to the choir, we're already on your side and you're fucking us over. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but since lockdown started a year ago and more and more people have been stuck at home rather than going to the office, my internet's tanked. It used to be way better than it is, and now it's fine. It's usable and I can still do things, but it's very in and out and comes and goes, and speed is all over the bloody place. So, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Like, now is the time where I feel like so many more people's internet is not bad, but unstable.
Inconsistent.
Unstable,
yeah. That's a good point. Some people I've seen on social media justifying this by saying, everyone has an internet connection these days. What's the big fuss?
I hate that argument. It's when people say, physical games are just get rid of them. Everyone has an internet. That's just factually untrue. You do, because you're fucking talking about it on Twitter. Not everyone does, and certainly not everyone has good internet or internet that they can even use. Like you said, people have data caps or limits, especially a game like Crash, which is a very kid-friendly game, so a lot of kids will be able to play it, and you can put internet blockers on stuff so that your kids aren't overusing it, and that's going to fuck up the game. Even if they've done all their homework and cleaned their room, they could still get screwed over.
Yeah. You know, and the data cap situation is a real problem for a lot of people. They don't want to leave the internet connection on the whole time. You never know what your computer's doing in the background or installing updates on this and that. You just don't want to run that risk of going over your cap or just using data when you don't need to be. So ideally, you just shut that shit off when you're not using it and save as much data as possible. But this game having to be online the whole time, it's inexcusable. It's very anti-consumer, and it's trying to force people to buy the game or trying to ensure that piracy doesn't happen. But the irony is that it incentivizes piracy by doing it, and that's what they're missing.
No one likes piracy.
Bloody pirates.
it's not something that is quote unquote good or the right thing to do, the legal thing to do, whatever kind of various stages of morality you want to apply. But in this case, and many cases like this,
almost justifiable, right?
It's not just, oh, I can understand that. It's more, that actually seems like a good idea. Like you're saying, it's incentivizing it. And this isn't the first time it's happened. It happens all the fucking time. Yeah. Sometimes DRM can be fairly painless and not as much of a pain in the ass, but almost every single time it just creates problems.
Yeah, I mean, Battle.net is notorious for requiring an online connection, always online connection. There's games like StarCraft 2 and Diablo 3 that have offline content, but it's inaccessible without an always online connection. Again, it's like Battle.net are one of the worst, the most egregious things for doing this, if you ask me. It's interesting to note that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, which released last year, I think, Black Ops Cold War and Modern Warfare, which are on Battle.net too, they have not been cracked since they've released, but I think the reason for that is they all have online shops that sell microtransactions, and I think if they were cracked, obviously it's morally, for the people who are cracking, it's slightly more ethically questionable thing to do, right? However, because Crash 4 doesn't have any online content at all, it's all single player game, and it's got no online shop, no microtransactions.
For now, let's just put that in there for now.
Yeah. For now, at least they've kept to their word for now. This apparently rubbed the hacking groups up the wrong way and got them motivated. So by midday Saturday, the very next day, they'd already cracked the game and released it.
That's got to be the best pirate I've ever seen. So it would seem.
So that is just, I love that. They're like Robin Hood or something, isn't it? It's like doing right for the community. Although it's the little guy. It's technically not ethically, not legal, but it's the right thing to do, right? It's the right thing to do.
And it happens every time. DRM never lasts very long. Someone is able to crack it. Yeah. Always.
The crack itself replaces a single file in your vanilla file directory and allows you to play without an online connection, which is absolutely beautiful. And the fact that the crackers did this not for people to be able to pirate the game, but they did it for the benefit of the people who bought the game and legitimately want to play it offline. That's the difference here, right? That's why what they did is so much better.
And if it only changes one file, that's relatively uninvasive and it's not going to fuck up the game systems or anything like that. 'Cause that's part of the risk of piracy, anything kind of like that. It's not just, it's illegal, it's a bit morally ambiguous, let's just say. It's the potential risks it poses to your system and the products. And if you do get caught or whatever, because it's broken or been done in a way that's really obvious to detect, you'll lose the game, they'll take it away from you, and you've lost everything. But this seems to be quite a simple fix, presumably, if it's just one file. I mean, maybe it's a very complicated and big file, I don't know, but it seems to have been done in the cleanest way possible. But perhaps that's just an indication of how shit this DRM implementation was and how half-assed it was if they were able to smash it open that quickly and just change one little thing.
Well, at the very least, it's not Denuvo. I mean, Denuvo is such a horrible program that apparently they're bringing to PlayStation, or they've offered it to PlayStation in the future too. But it's one of those programs that will eat at your system resources and make your game perform worse on the system that you're playing on. So that is a lot worse. The fact that it's just online, only uses your internet connection to authenticate, should technically mean it's a bit better than Denuvo. However, it's still questionable and it's still anti-consumer. It's still putting the company, or it's the company's misbelief, right? The company believes it's going to serve a certain purpose, but in doing so, it pushes people the other side towards piracy, which is the deep-set irony here. But they're not doing it for the customers. They're doing it to try and look after their own interests. Again, it's a theme that permeates the whole entire games industry, and it's always an issue. My thing I always say is, you don't have to put up with this. Just don't buy these games. There's so many better games. If you don't believe or don't abide by these business practices, you don't have to. You don't support them by buying the games. Go somewhere else. Find an indie developer you want to support. Find a creator or a developer or a publisher that act ethically and morally towards the consumers that you want to, the way that they behave. You want to promote that. So you don't have to buy these games. And maybe piracy is an option now. I'm not saying you should do. I'm not saying it's right, but you're probably able to do that now with this new crack. That's all I'm saying.
It's an option. You can make that choice. It's nothing to do with us at all. Definitely not.
It's not our responsibility. It's your choice. We're not telling people to do that. But there you go. That is that story. I like that story in that there was a hero. There was a villain, obvious villain. There's an obvious hero, and the hero's doing it for the good of the community. And this is time and time again. Gamers get together. Don't piss off a nerd, man. Don't piss off the nerds.
Don't do it. They're probably smarter.
I'll screw you.
Or they're probably smarter, or at least as smart as the people who put the shit in there in the first place. I think the thing for me with this one is that it's Crash. It's something nice, and most people really like Crash. He's a cute mascot. He's been around for decades. If it was Call of Duty or something, we'd just be like, oh, it's Call of Duty bullshit. Well, it's online anyway. Yeah. But you know what I mean? A game like that, which people generally don't like, or the public perception's not very good. It's like when Nintendo does something bad with Mario. It's like, he's Mario. You're meant to be the safe space. You're meant to be good, and you go and pull some shit like this. It's just sours everything.
A lot of the appeal of Crash is that it is a legacy game, right? It's a game which has been about for years and years and years, and the older people of my generation will remember playing Crash Bandicoot back in the day, back on the original systems or whatever. Doing this to that group of players, that demographic, that isn't going to go down well, and obviously it hasn't, and action has been taken. So I don't know. I count this as a win for the community, that's for sure. And hopefully it's a bit of a lesson to to Activision Blizzard, because, like I said, the other games with microtransactions haven't been cracked as quickly, haven't had as much attention from the crackers. The moment they do this, they pull this shit, it's just an extra step of bullshittery that they've gone to, and crackers were like, nah, we're doing something about this, and they've done it, and we won on this occasion, I guess. So there you have it. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to go and watch the full podcast, head to the description of this video and you'll find a link to our new podcast channel, or head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and get early access.